Danielle Matisse, and I'm at Garden Oaks Veterinary Clinic in Houston, Texas. So we chose to work with iVET360 because when we first opened our practice, I think like many hospitals, you don't really know where to start. And so our practice owner got a local website company that was not veterinary specific, and they had built us a site, but there was essentially no support. And because they weren't veterinary specific, they were throwing a lot of superlatives and verbiage and just not really capturing the essence of what a veterinary hospital needs in order to brand themselves. And so we had just kind of reached a point where we knew we needed to find something that was going to help us continue to grow and kind of stand out. And so we were a member of Veterinary Growth Partners, and so they were a recommended vendor through them. And so we started looking into the services that they could offer and found that it was a lot of things that we weren't already doing, which was incredible to see that there's a company out there offering such an expansive selection of services for marketing. I think that some of the concerns as a veterinary hospital and as a manager that you might have is looking at, is this company going to be able to accurately represent us and who we are and really deliver on what they promise? Because there are a lot of companies out there that'll claim to be able to get you a certain ranking spot on Google or get you a certain number of reviews or take away bad reviews. And so when you're focusing on your veterinary medicine, there's a lot of things in the marketing world that you're not up to date about, and so you really have to trust a company in order to be able to represent the voice that you want to portray to your clients, and to really make you stand out. And so for us, it was really about making sure that we could develop a relationship where we could, ask for something and it would be delivered on, and that we'd actually see a return on the investment that we were making into this company. The services that have been the greatest benefit for us definitely is going to come down to digital marketing in terms of the website, having a customized website where we can, use something that helps us to really stand out, helps us to have good SEO and ranking on Google without having to throw in these awkward keywords, which was the issue we had with our non-veterinary company, where they would try to say best veterinary clinic and it just sounded too fake, and we wanted to keep things authentic. And so I think that their knowledge of the marketing industry has really helped take our digital marketing to the next level. I think also in terms of reputation management, and then we do email campaigns, so building out newsletter, building out emails that get sent to clients so that we can get some feedback from our clients. And so seeing all of that has been incredibly helpful. And then also the fact that they have an HR and training platform, that is really what sets them apart from other companies I've seen, because it's one thing to market yourself externally, but if your clinic and your team is not at the top of their game and kind of all on the same page, you have to market yourself as well. And so it helps us to build that brand from the inside out. With iVET360, so my marketing manager, she is basically the greatest support that I could ever have. So any thoughts or ideas that I have, I'm able to just send her an email or call her and just kind of talk through things. For myself personally, I'm not very much of a big picture person, and so sometimes when I get ideas, I don't really know what to do with it. I don't know if it's something that's realistic, and so she's able to take my thoughts and really articulate it and kind of pull out what I'm wanting to do, what my vision is, and find a way to make it feasible. I honestly can't imagine a single time where she said, no, this isn't something that we can do. Instead, they just find a way to make it happen. And so for me, it's about really having that support to kind of bounce ideas off of, and to really talk through what's happening in the hospital, thinking ahead, so like right now in the moment, but then also long term, what's coming up? Do we have events going on? Do we have a new doctor joining the team? What is it that we need to start marketing for? And so she keeps me accountable by giving me set things that we have to keep to a timeline on, and then also just kind of helping to reassure me that there's certain things that they're handling that I don't have to worry about, and that is a huge burden lifted off your shoulders years, especially when you're in a veterinary hospital and you already wear 50 different hats, having somebody who can support you and, encourage you and just really get your hospital and what they need, it's invaluable. In a veterinary hospital, your return on investment is somebody walking in the door. It doesn't matter how many likes you get on a Facebook post or what your open rate is on an email, unless you can actually convert on that. And so for us, we've been able to see a return on investment by having specific tracking measurements that we've been able to put into things like call tracking on our website or a certain link on our email campaigns in our newsletter, where we can actually measure how many people are making appointments, and then with our call tracking, by utilizing Callbox, we're able to actually listen in on those calls, which is helpful in terms of training, but then also helpful in terms of actually measuring how many appointments are being scheduled and if there is something productive with that. And then even on like social media and things like that, always not just putting out graphics and cute pet pictures, but finding ways to draw things back to the website and back to your hospital so that you can get people coming in the door. My experience working with iVET360 is honestly probably one of the best experiences I've had working with another business when you're talking about a business-to-business relationship. So just from day one, they're very down-to-earth people and people that you can understand truly have transparency, and they're very ethical, and they really at the end of the day want to help you, and that's it. There's no ulterior motive, there's no anything being two-faced. They really want to be there for you and offer that support and be really responsive, and that's something that has been consistent the entire time. There was a brief period of time when we were incredibly busy in our hospital. We had business enough for 3 doctors. We only had 2, and then our associate left. And you're kind of in crisis mode. You have to start evaluating, as a manager, there's pressure on you to make the best decisions that you can for the practice and the practice owner. A lot of times that comes down to, well, maybe we can cut costs. And so for me, I'm someone who is kind of at least a little bit marketing savvy. And so, when it came time to us considering areas that we could maybe cut down, we did consider going to another company that was less expensive, thinking that maybe there was the lack of services that this other company didn't offer, we could compensate for on our own. And so we did leave iVET360 and we went with another very well-known company, and I can tell you easily within 2 weeks, I recognized the difference in this company and the fact that not all marketing companies are created equally. And even though it was never a question of us not being able to see a return on investment, with iVET360, it literally was just being in that survival mode of, okay, maybe we need to cut costs, but there is no question about it that what iVET360 provides is that personal touch, being able to actually work with you and exactly what you want and be open to feedback. So anytime that we said, hey, you know what, I'd like to see this done a little bit differently, there was never any combativeness or any issues with me being able to be open and honest, and that just kind of defines the relationship that you have. Similar with a veterinary client that you might have, the relationship that you build has to be founded on trust first in order for anything to actually be, come out from that. And so when we recognized that there really wasn't going to be a lot of trust and transparency with this other company, we recognized that we definitely needed to go back to iVET360. And the difference in that was it was so obvious because there was no one person that you had as a sole point of contact. So for me, I can call Kate anytime and she's my one person. I also know I could speak with anybody else on the team, but I have somebody that I can go to if I have these questions. And I think that some other companies, and the one that we had switched to, they value efficiency over that relational touch. And so what happens is, I might send an email and somebody might respond to me, but I don't know who it is that's responding. They may not have context for what I'm asking, and it creates a severe breakdown in communication, and that is what prevents there to be that trust trust being built to where you can actually continue to grow as a company working with this other business. So for us, there was no questions about it. We had to switch back to iVET360, and so I think we made it about a month, and I contacted them and let them know that, hey, you know what, if the return on the investment was not even a question, we'd be willing to pay more because we see not just in the analytics and the conversions, but for me, the support that I get from the team, that's invaluable because I have several other plates spinning at all different times. And so I don't have the ability to, be everywhere at once and constantly have to check in on things. And so for us, there was no question about switching back to iVET360, and it's easily the greatest decision that we made. Honestly, it would be supportive. For me, that's absolutely, if I could give one word for iVET360, it would be supportive, because of the fact it's not just, the support that you get in terms of marketing and the support that you get in terms of these more tangible services, the support you get with training and HR, and the different offerings you can have for your clients. But for us, it's having somebody that I can go to, that's my point of contact, who has gotten to know me and gotten to know our hospital. And so when I propose an idea, it's not this far off thing. And they've always been open to hear different ideas, or if I have suggestions, they don't make me feel crazy if I ask 50 million questions in a day, which is kind of rare. So that's, for me, is something that I just haven't found with any other company. And I think that they're honest, and the fact that they are so transparent with the practices that they work with, that means everything. As a hospital, you have to know really what it is that you need from another company in terms of just who you are, and really kind of discovering how you want to come across to your clients and to the world and everything like that. And so when it comes down to finding a place that can represent you, finances and the monthly subscription is not the only factor, because all companies are not created equal. So initially for us, we when we first wanted to sign on, there was certain features that our practice software was not compatible with in terms of getting certain types of analytics. And rather than just turning us away and saying, you know what, this isn't going to be a good fit, they worked with us over a period of 2 months to really find a way that they could still meet our needs, even if it wasn't what was typical for other companies. And so they were able to kind of come up with a plan for us to say, hey, here's what we can offer. Maybe there's some other things that we're not quite there yet in terms of compatibility, but they were willing to go above and beyond to be to really customize and collaborate with us to provide exactly what we needed, instead of just treating us like another number and sticking us in a box. And so right off the bat, for me, that showed me that this was a company that I could trust, because of the fact that it wasn't like we were just forgotten about. I inquired about services, and then they kept up with me and said, hey, Danielle, here's what we've been working on. I think this is going to work for you. And that blew me away, because it felt like they actually cared, and that my business for our one hospital mattered. And so that is something that I would recommend, is really just taking time to recognize how different iVET360 is in terms of their willingness to work with exactly what you need. It's definitely not the easy way. They're doing things the hard way, and that is all the difference, because I'm sure they could do things in a way where maybe it was a little bit more efficient, or it cut down work for them, but they're willing to go the extra mile for hospitals, and that right there is what builds trust for me. And so I think just recognizing the fact that they're willing to provide exactly what it is that you need, not something that is for another hospital. And maybe you're a hospital that wants more or less communication, or you're willing to put in more or less effort yourself. They'll work with whatever it is that you have that you have to offer and that you're looking for. And that's incredible to me, because we're all different in terms of veterinary hospitals. We all have different brands and personalities, and different responsibilities that we keep up with. And so having a company where I can feel comfortable saying, you know what, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time to do this week, and they can kind of take that on without any complaints or without saying, you know what, that's not something we typically do. That right there makes me, feel even more inclined to trust them, and then have the relationship built from there, where I feel like we can actually grow because they understand exactly what it is that we need, and they're willing to, put in whatever work that they need to do in order to get us there.